Hello, 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 good people, wherever you are located on our beloved planet Earth. I wish you tremendous wisdom wherever you are today, even or night. I'm going to be talking about an injury that seems like it plagues basketball players, whether they're female basketball players or men basketball players, but it definitely seems to plague the individuals on the pro level. I think it affects football players too and other sports, other professional sports too. But to me, it seems like I definitely hear it, how it affects NBA player. The title of this article is How NBA Players Have Historically Fared After Achilles Heel Injuries. The article, it said, an Achilles tear is the worst injury you can have in basketball. See, it didn't say nothing about baseball, soccer, or football, or hockey. It's an injury that seems to hit the professional basketball players the most. And I don't know if it's just the NBA players here in America or if it's a worldwide injury. So this article was posted by Tim Cato and Mike Prada. So here we go. Let's begin hearing about this. The unbearable sadness, of the ACL injuries. We know more about ACL tears, and they are occasionally injuries that are more gruesome, like Gordon Hayward's broken ankle during the 2017 season opener. I remember that. It looked terrible, the way the ankle got twisted up. And you know the media, they like to show terrible things over and over. We've also seen players recover quicker from Achilles injuries in recent years than the past. That's true. When I got involved in the NBA during the era when Michael Jordan was playing for his first championship against the Los Angeles Lakers, I think the Achilles tear injuries back then would have doomed your career. I think back then, 20 or 30 years ago, if you got the ACL injury, your career was basically done. I didn't say you couldn't come back, but many of them were done. Alright, according to a 2013 medical study that identified 18 players who suffered major Achilles injury over a 20-year span from 1998 to 2011, 7 players never returned to the league. Players who returned missed an average of 56 games and saw their performance decline in their first and second seasons back. So if you have an ACL injury and you come back after the so-called 56 games, you definitely are not the same. It may take you 2 or 3 seasons to get back up to snuff. A 2015 CBS Sports article found that among 14 players who returned from Achilles injuries since 1992, they averaged 4 minutes while both their field goal and three-point percentages dropped. Of course, if you're having less minutes, you know your scoring going to drop on average. There are very few complete success stories. That's the uphill battle who Kevin Durant, who basically had an ACL injury in 2018, will face. But I don't think he's too explosive. The ACL injury, from what I hear, it really affects those players who are explosive, who need to get to the hoop, who need to do a dunk, who love running. It affects them. Kevin Durant, he can be explosive, but he's one of them players who basically he get the ball, he shoot it, and he's good to go. I know he's agile, but he's not like LeBron James. LeBron James just cannot. He's not a spot-up shooter. Kevin Durant is more of a spot-up shooter than LeBron James. So let's get into it. What happens during an Achilles tendon tear? The Achilles tendon is the thickest and strongest in the entire body. Oh wow, I didn't know that. Connected the calf muscles to the heel bones. Back in 2015, Maves Moneyball spoke to Dr. Kevin Stone, an orthopedic surgeon who specializes in sports medicine. Here's how he described the tendon. The Achilles tendon attaches the calf muscle to the heel bone. It's designed to stretch. Okay, so it's a stretching segment. It's designed to absorb force when the athlete lands from a jump. Okay, like them explosive NBA players who need to get to the hoop, who need to make a dunk. It's designed, or who love to run, who love running, who need that quick first step. The Achilles injury affect that first step. When you have it, now you may have a second or third step. It's designed to provide power for the push-off when taking a running step. And so, Achilles tendon ruptures are classically the scourge of a 40 to a 60-year-old male. It's uncommon in sports injuries for it to be women or to be younger athletes. So it's rare with women and younger athletes, but it do affect some WNBA players. So the usual Achilles rupture in the basketball player or a female is usually bad luck, landing from a bad position, landing awkwardly, hard on their foot. Okay, so it basically affects how you land on your foot or your ankle. One common description of an Achilles tendon is as a rubber band. A grade 1 or 2 strain means that the Achilles has swelling or might be partially torn. But in our rubber band analogy, the muscle is still connected on both sides and still works, albeit less effectively. A grade 3 tear means the Achilles muscle or the rubber band has snapped. That's deadly. And is now flopping around uselessly with no ability to reconnect itself. Okay, that's deadly. The MRI will determine where the current or where most players fall in that spectrum. Is it 1, 2, or 3? Okay. What's this? Let me go down. Let me keep looking. Okay, the page is blank. Let me see if I can reload this whole page up. Hang on, people. Okay. Let me reload this. Stop it. Let me see. It's coming on. I'm sorry, but my internet seemed to be acting up. Let's see. Let me go back up. The page is loaded. Let's go. Hang on. Let me keep going back up. Okay. I got that. Recovery time ranges from 6 months to an entire year. Wow. Yes. It's not an injury where you can quickly come back in 2 or 3 weeks. 6 months to a year. If you're interested in more information about the surgery, definitely read the full Stone interview. So if you want more about Achilles injuries, type in, I guess you can go to Google and type in Stone interview Achilles injuries. Notable players who have suffered Achilles injuries in basketball, I believe. There are several examples of articles that have compared player statistics before and after Achilles injury. See these stories on Deadspin and CBS Sports. That said, there's always an issue with comparing those numbers. The injury may be the biggest factor, but there's also minute limitations, as I discussed earlier, natural aging, and smaller roles to consider. It might be best to go through the most notable players who have suffered from Achilles tendon and how they recover. For this exercise, it makes more sense to focus on established NBA players rather than the bench players, though we may make a few exceptions. So let me see. Let me go to some notable NBA players. We all heard of DeMarcus Cousins. When he was injured, it happened in January 2018. He was 27 years old. Before the injury, Cousins was on his way to a 5th straight All-Star appearance. In his first 4 seasons alongside Anthony Davis, Cousins was averaging 25 points and 13 rebounds per game, helping New Orleans stay in the playoff hunt. So that was good numbers. Now here we go. After the injury, Cousins reportedly turned down a 2-year, $40 million offer from the Pelicans. But when no other offers presented themselves, he signed a 1-year, $5.3 million deal with the Warriors. Wow, that's a big drop He should have took the first one. He returned to the court in mid-January and averaged 16 points, so that's about 9 points less, and 8 rebounds. So that's 5 rebounds less. And just under 26 minutes, that could be it. A game. He injured his quad in the first round of the playoffs before returning for a brief cameo in the NBA Finals. Now, I'm only going to read the notable characters. I'm not reading people who I may not heard of. Kobe Bryant. When the injury happened, it happened March 2013. At the time, he was 34. So in the basketball world, 34, that's equivalent to a 55-year-old in normal life. So he was an aged NBA player. Before the injury, Bryant was past his prime, as I stated, but he was still a dominant force, averaging 27.3 points on 46% shooting that season. Okay, those respectable numbers. After the injury, Bryant played 6, 35, and 66 games in the next 3 seasons. Okay, wow. Before retiring, he averaged 19 points on just a woeful 37% shooting from the field. See, he needed to be explosive. He could not do it after that. Chauncey Billups. When the injury happened, it happened February 2012. He was 35, so past his NBA prime. Before the injury, Billups was still averaging 15 points that season for his Achilles injury, though he was only shooting 36% from the field. That's terrible. After the injury, Billups played just 41 more games over the next 2 seasons before retiring. Okay. Elton Brand. When the injury happened on August 2007, off-season workout at age 28. So he was young. He was at his prime from an NBA point of view. Before the injury, through his first 9 seasons, Brand averaged 20 points and 10 rebounds as an athletic force known for his leaping ability. You remember Achilles needs your leaping ability. It wasn't so ridiculous to think that Brand could have been a Hall of Fame candidate if he had been allowed to continue his prime uninterrupted. After the injury, see, that's a big drop. Brand averaged 15 points and 8 rebounds during the 2010-11 season, but never eclipsed those numbers in any other season. In an interview with iSocial.com, Brand said this, quote, "I didn't have the same explosiveness that I had. I regained and then we lost it. I didn't have it. I had to change my game a little bit where I jumped off 2 feet and I was a little bit slower." That's coming from a person who was at his NBA prime. So the injury diminished his ability. Let me keep looking for other notable NBA players. I'm not going to read the ones I haven't heard of. Dominic Wilkins. When the injury happened, August 1992, game at age 32. So he was almost near his prime. He was over his peak, but he wasn't old by NBA standards. Before the injury, Wilkins is a strange case and perhaps not perfectly comparable given his injury happened nearly 25 years ago. I know, the medicine wasn't the same then. With few similar examples since, but he was one of the league's most dominant scorers in his prime. Yes, and I'm sure if you're an NBA fan, you have heard of Dominic Wilkins. After the injury, no player has ever recovered to the same level that Wilkins did after a torn Achilles. Across Wilkins' next 2 seasons, he averaged 28 points and nearly 7 rebounds per game on 45% shooting. His number declined the next year, but Wilkins also turned 35. It was going to happen eventually, so he got the injury at the age of 32, and his decline began at 35. So 3 years later, his decline happened, but when he was 33, he was at his peak. 34, he was at his peak, and he had that Achilles injury. So let me go down the list. Now, what's the usual outcome for Achilles injuries? Every injury, body type, and player is different. That's true, of course. An Achilles injury for one player doesn't affect everyone the same way. That said, it's a terrible injury that typically bodes poorly for the player involved. Generally, this is what will happen to your favorite NBA athlete. Number 1. Achilles injuries affect players over 30 the worst. So if you're over 30, it got your number. Often shorten their careers to just another season or two. Durant, who was injured in 2018, will turn 31 just before the start of next season. So let's see how his season turns out. Remember, but he don't need to be explosive if he don't have to. He can get that ball and shoot it. He don't always have to run. Number 2, Achilles injuries aren't career shortening for players under 30, at least not immediately. So if you're under 30, I guess it makes sense because over time it may take about 2 years to fully heal. So if you're 27, 25, at least you have a chance it can heal up in about 2 good years. You may be back in your peak form. Number 3, however, players who suffer Achilles injuries rarely reach their pre-injury peak. And certainly not for an extended amount of time. That's true. Like Dominique Wilkins. He only was able to last about 2 years, 3 years. And number 4, recent trends point to the Achilles rehabilitation taking closer to 6 to 8 months rather than 9 to 12 months. That'll put Durant back sometime in the middle of next season if there's a complete rupture. But chances are he'll play this conservatively. Okay, so that's it, my good people, about the Achilles injury. If you like my report on this Achilles injury and how it affects primarily NBA players, primarily men who play basketball, because they don't have to be no NBA players. Since I'm in America, I don't hear about the people in Spain, Italy, the Philippines, etc. But I'm sure they have it too. Give me a thumbs up if you like the article. If you have any comments or if you suffered Achilles injuries, please give a comment and give us further insights. If you'd like to subscribe, I welcome you to subscribe. Until the next time, my good people, peace.